Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Paul Giamatti.
This is brutal.
Christmas.
This is brutal. I'm Dan. I love Paul Giamatti Christmas movies. I love them. I'm sorry. What do you want from me?
I'm Alonso, and I love Paul Giamatti Christmas movies that don't feature Vince Vaughn. And this,
Oh, hey, come on!
No, you're right. Oh,
The Hallmark, it's his podcast.
I've been had. Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
I'm not a real film critic. I can say that the fact that Paul Giamatti was featured in Fred Claus makes the Holdovers worse. I can say it.
I just want to be very clear. There are great Paul Giamatti Christmas movies and not so good ones. There's actually even another one with Paul Rudd, and it's mezzo at best.
Mezzo.
What's that one?
It's called All Is Bright.
All is bright.
What's the best Paul Giamatti movie in your mind, Alonso?
This list.
Paul Giamatti. Ooh, that'd be a good list.
I got to go American Splendor.
American Splendor's a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
You know
that's one of my
what he's
favorites.
great in? The movie's fine. Cinderella Man. Paul Giamatti is so good in Cinderella Man, and
His first Oscar nomination.
And every time I watch it, I forget. Like, he is just immersed, and it's just like it's great. He's
one of those guys. You see his name in the credits, you're like, everything else about this movie could be garbage,
That's right.
but Giamatti is going to deliver.
Giamatti's going to Giamatti.
He's gonna
deliver. Giamatti.
It's great to be
Didn't
here
even
today.
mention Sideways. Great movie.
It's
Of course.
great to be here today talking about a little movie called The Holdovers. Maybe you missed it.
We're
Maybe
gonna
you watched
rib at the old Holdovers a little bit.
Is this
so
the first? Is this the first Oscar nominee we've done on this show,
First
or
Oscar
winner
nominee
rather?
of any kind? I don't know, but Best Picture nominee, I can guarantee you.
Sure,
Catch
and
Me If
Oscar
You Can.
winner.
Catch me.
Oh, that's true.
It was
Catch
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Did it get nominated? Not Best Picture, did it?
It got nominated for. I think it might have just been nominated for Christopher Walken and maybe like the score or something. I got to look.
Christopher Walken and John Williams. You nailed it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
He's good.
Man,
He's
guy
good.
knows his stuff.
He's all right.
But
He's
Best
all right.
Picture nominee,
Yes.
this has got to be our first.
And Best Supporting Actress winner.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, buckle up, everybody. We're gonna have a field day with this.
Oh,
one.
they're not gonna know it hit them.
They're not.
In the
They're not.
70s,
Oh,
people living, get out of here.
yeah.
There's no way they drank that much.
No, it's not
No,
safe.
they
It's
wouldn't
not
do it.
safe.
Cigarettes? People didn't smoke cigarettes.
Smoking?
Like that.
What?
They
No
didn't.
way.
They didn't use seatbelts.
Yeah, get out of here.
All right.
Get out of here. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever movie.
Whatever, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Not fooling us.
Alonso, have you come down from the high that was the release schedule? Are you?
Well,
What a
I'll
day
tell
that
you,
was.
it is. It is for me. It has become like Christmas in terms of it's all about anticipation. Hallmark gives you that list, and it is a row of wrapped gifts. You don't know if that beautiful paper is hiding something cool or something terrible. At this point, they're all potentially marvelous, and so we get to live in that space for a while. Until we start watching them, and then the paper comes off, and it's like,
At least the
okay.
wrapping was nice. Yeah.
thanks, I guess.
Or flip that, where it's like, oh, this movie sounds like it sucks, and then it turns out it was
Also true.
Ghost of Christmas Always situation. Which
Round and round. Like, oh, you wrap this in an old grocery bag,
Yeah.
but it's a treasure.
And I got to be honest, as someone that hates these movies, I'm actually with you here, Alonso. Schedule release day is maybe it's up there this side of Bramble Fest and the big things that we do, marathon things like that. As far as a regular day in the office, the schedule release day might be my favorite. It's a fun day since it was just you and I, Bran, and getting that schedule, printing it all out. You coming in on your scooter.
Yeah.
You heard about the schedule. You got on your scooter. You came right over.
Ben Savage was an actor.
Yeah. What a day.
Brand being on vacation in Mexico that time.
That was a
really
classic year.
special.
That was a classic year, but it's fun because you're kind of scrambling, and like for some reason we feel it necessary to print out the skit. Like I don't know why we do, but it's like, where's the printer? We haven't used the printer. Does the printer work?
Yeah.
Like we have to. I have to have them in front of me.
Get the
know-
cobwebs
Yeah.
off.
I'm sure we mentioned it lastly. It's all a blur, but we bought a printer for the release. We
We
were like, our
literally
printer's
bought
gone.
one
We got to go out and
for
get a
the
printer.
schedule release, and then that printer doesn't work now.
Well,
So we
it was
bought
a
a
good
new
day,
one
though.
for this
Can
release.
someone tell me what's up with printers? I feel like
What's the deal with printers?
I feel like so much has evolved, and we have gotten so good at so much. But no one, I feel like, has cracked it.
Can't crack
Everybody
printers.
has problems with their
Printers and copiers, man.
Nobody's been like, yeah, this one. It never gives me problems. They all give problems.
It's kind of how, like, they talk about how the language of silent cinema would have evolved so much further if sound had come in a couple years later, but then suddenly everything had to grind to a halt and, like, had to lock the camera down because the microphone and all that stuff. I kind of feel like if we hadn't gotten so good at DocuSign and like just a paperless virtual world, that maybe printers would have had to try harder. But I think we moved past printers so quickly that now printers are just like, yeah, whatever.
We don't have to try hard at all.
That's
Easily
really really thoughtful.
Easily the best scene in Babylon, right? Where Margot Robbie's trying to do the movie with the sound. Like,
I
would say terrible movie. That's the best scene.
That is the best scene, and it's actually, I know exactly what they were referring to in that scene. I write about it in my book Hollywood Pride.
Yeah.
Dorothy Arzner directed an early talkie with Clara Bow, who had been a huge silent star, and it was her first time doing a talkie. She was very nervous. It was hard to get her to like stay on her mark, so they basically rigged up a microphone on a fishing pole and followed her around the set, and it was basically the first boom mic ever, and that's what they were referencing in Babylon in that scene with Margot Robbie.
And that's Hollywood Pride on bookshelves everywhere.
That makes a great gift.
And that assist is from Daniel Thompson.
You knew it. You knew it, and you brought it, and that was really wonderful. Let's talk holdovers, shall we?
Oh, did we do enough to fill it?
So.
Good. All right, great.
Well, I don't know. We'll find out.
Look, Wait What's going to take forever.
Wait What is just going to be huge. Brand he was desperate for a Wait What.
I deleted some.
And he said this thing, and I'm like, Brand, that's not a Wait What. And he started to argue with me while we're watching the movie. That is what I'm saying it. I'm saying it. It's great.
Just you wait. Alonso's probably going to take it before I get to it.
I hope he does.
And then I'll have nothing.
Yeah.
I'll have nothing. I got a type 5 on urine, and it's coming. In my way. Just wait. It's coming. And spoiler alert.
I saw Tide 5 on Urine Live, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
They hand out nose plugs, and that's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice
It is,
feature.
yeah.
And they're good ones.
I still have my Type 5 on urine poncho that I bought.
For the first 3 rows. They just give it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Premiered in Telluride on August 31st for those that care of 2023, and then October 27th for us here in the United States, and it went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem," sung by a school's all-boy choir because we're at an all-boys school. It's cold. It's Christmas. It's 1970. We meet Mr. Paul Hunnam. Yes. And he's a teacher who loves smoking his pipe and complaining about how bad his students' papers are. Kids don't like him. Teachers don't really like him. And but he doesn't seem to care. He's an establishment at this point. He gets a call to go into the headmaster's office and get some bad news. He has to stay at the school over Christmas, which he would have done anyways, but he has to watch the Holdovers.
Oh my God, that's the name of the movie.
That's the name of it. Man. Son of a gun. Those are the kids who aren't going to go home for Christmas. There are 4 boys that are going to be sticking around.
5.
And it's about to be 5 because Angus Tully is a student that you might call a little bit of a smart butt. A little smart butt. And he is annoyed that he finds out that he's going to be held over because that wasn't the plan at all. He had plans, but he gets a call from his mom. His mom was remarried in July, and they've decided that Christmas was a good time for their honeymoon.
Screw you.
And also sticking around during Christmas is Mary, who's the school's cafeteria manager. And this is the first Christmas since her son Curtis passed away at war. It doesn't take long for Mr. Hunnam to get fed up with these children and their unchecked privilege. He makes them work out, he makes them do schoolwork, but it all comes to a screeching halt when one of the parents of the students show up in a helicopter to take his kids skiing for Christmas. And they say, hey, all these kids, they're welcome to come with us, only if the parents say okay. And they get approval from all of the parents except for Agnes. And so he's stuck there, and Mr. Hunnam is stuck with him, and he's very upset. But he couldn't be more fed up with this whole situation, so he leaves Mr. Hunnam in a bit of a game of cat and mouse, having him chase him all over the school. He runs into the gym, does a flip onto a gymnastic flippy thing. You know the name of it.
The vault?
The vaults. That's right. And dislocates his shoulder in the process. To protect Mr. Hunnam from getting in trouble, he lies to the doctor to make sure that insurance doesn't get involved. That's not the way we do things at the school, but what can you do? They go out to eat that night, and they bump into Lydia, who's the headmaster's assistant, and the chemistry between him and Hunnam is off the charts. And she invites him to their Christmas party. They end up all going together, and everyone is having a good time. Hunnam is talking to Lydia. Agnes is kissing a townie, and Mary was in charge of the music. But things go south quickly. Turns out that Lydia's in a relationship. Mary has an emotional breakdown, and Agnes's day is...
It's Angus.
Angus.
You
sorry.
switched to Agnes about halfway through.
Okay, we'll go with
trying my
Angus.
best. Yep.
Angus, he gets pulled away from his fun kissing
Agnes
time.
Day is in a different...
Agnes Day. That's exactly right. Hallelujah. In the midst of a heated argument with Hunnam, Hunnam brings up Angus's father, and Angus drops the bomb. His dad is dead. So he feels bad about this. The next morning is Christmas morning, and Hunnam wakes up inspired to make sure that it's as good of a Christmas as possible. He goes and he gets the last tree on the lot, and he gives Angus and Mary gifts. Angus requests a field trip to Boston for Christmas, and Hunnam reluctantly agrees. Field trip, that could be nice. They drop Mary off at her sister's house, and they spend the day looking at books, going to museums, ice skating, and Angus even gets to see Hunnam lie to a guy that he went to school with. Oh my gosh. They're having a great time in Boston together, but when they go to a movie, Hunnam catches Angus trying to sneak away. And he's like, I'm going to go see my father. And he agrees that he will go with him, assuming that they're going to go to the cemetery because his dad's dead. Yeah. But they don't go to a cemetery at all. Instead, his father is alive but lives at a psychiatric hospital. And after a disappointing visit, he opens up to about how he's afraid that he's going to turn into his father. But Hunnam actually comforts him and tells him that he is not his father. And so they get back to campus, and they all ring in the new year together. They shoot a firework off in the kitchen. It's very nice. It is now time for school to start again, and everybody comes back. Hunnam is asked to come to the headmaster's office. Angus's mother and stepfather are waiting, and they tell him that Angus is not allowed to see his father. And apparently, when he left his father, he gave his father a snow globe, which was used to hit one of the workers at the hospital. So they are peed right the O off. And Angus's mother and stepfather, they are threatening to take him out of the school and put him in military academy. Military academy.
Agnes, get in the academy.
Get in there.
Right now.
Get in there right now. However, Hunnam lies again.
Agnes Lee.
And tells him that he's...
Agnes Day, get in the academy.
Hallelujah. And... tells him that he lies, and he says that he convinced him to go see his father because it was Christmas. Angus is able to stay, but Hunnam is fired. Mary leaves him with a notebook to begin writing his monograph. I knew what it was before the movie. I knew about monographs. Yeah. I always talk about them, but what can you do? Angus goes to tell him thank you, and Hunnam tells them that Angus is going to be all right and he can do this. As he's getting ready to pull out of the campus, he stops, he takes a swig of the old alcohol, the only alcohol in this whole movie, actually, and he spits it on the road towards the school, and he's out of there. And that, my friends, was the Holdovers.
We did it. It's not the old alcohol. He took the Louis the 13th Remy from the
his
desk
yeah.
of
The headmaster.
the headmaster. It, right now a bottle of that is probably worth $100,000. He spits that on the sign. That is very important. But you nailed it, Brandon.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it. You felt the need to.
I had to point that
There's
out.
a lot happening here, you know.
Angus deserved better.
Listen,
Agnes deserved better.
it's the first
So did
best
Agnes.
picture I've written a synopsis for, okay? It's very pressure-filled.
Well done. Well done, sir.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll break this movie down here on
Deck the Hallmark. A little extra long break there.
Well, sometimes you press
You
it.
gotta, I pressed it.
and
I
it
pushed
said-
it.
I pushed it. I put
Buttons
the
are
buttons
hard.
are sticky. It's the new board. It's
We're
a
going to
sticky
Button
button.
Academy. We're gonna
Push it real good.
Exactly right. It is. We're talking about the Holdovers today.
Yeah, we
on a
are.
Monday, Christmas movie from 2023. We're gonna break it down the only way we know how. Dadgummit.
That's right.
We're gonna start
DTH
with-
style.
That's exactly right. We're going to start with our hot take, is where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. We do not hold back. Alonso, what did you think of the Holdovers?
I do love this movie. And I have to say, like, I do remember the first time I saw it, I didn't quite get it in terms of, I think I was expecting something else. And so it left me a little like, I don't know. But I heard so many people that I trusted really raving about it that I thought, okay, I need to give this another shot. I'm so glad I did. I really, on the second viewing, and this is now like my fourth or fifth, I just think it's so wonderful. I'm a huge fan of Alexander Payne. I think this might be the first film that he did not co-write, which is interesting. But it still very much, I think, fits in his wheelhouse of the kind of stories he tells, even though it's not set in Nebraska. And of course, Paul Giamatti is like one of my favorite actors of the modern day. So I love to see him get a role that he can really sink his teeth into. And of course, Davine Joy Randolph is just killing it in every scene. Everybody is like this movie gets the little details right, so much of the granular 1970s stuff, the emotional arcs, the Christmas of it all. It's all great. It was on my diss list for the.
It was.
It was one of my top 5 Christmas movies since 1990.
Have you been watching Only Murders in the Building this year?
I have.
Doesn't Davine Joy Randolph now feel weird in that show? I don't know why. Her scenes feel weird to me. It feels like.
I think she's an actor, and so
Yeah.
she can do all kinds of roles. I mean, like, 'cause
course.
the first thing I saw her in was Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah,
where she's playing
it's
something.
not
So
her. It just feels
Yeah.
like now we've got this real big heavy hitter who comes in for like a scene, and it just feels like, oh my god, that's Davine. Like, I don't know. For me,
but the show is all heavy hitters.
That's
though.
true.
Like
That's true.
everybody who wanders into
Yeah.
Only Murders in the
I'm
Building is like
thoroughly
massively talented.
Thoroughly
so.
enjoying this season. That's
It's
different.
great.
It's thoroughly enjoyed. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Brian.
I love this movie. I thought that this movie was wonderful. Dan, you and I saw it in the theaters
We did.
together, and it was a very
It was a fun time. It was a sweet time.
Sweet time.
Yeah, it was.
Between friends.
Yeah.
If you don't go see the Holdovers with your friend in the middle of the day,
That's right.
What are you doing?
Maybe get a job where you can do that.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
ours.
it really
literally was a
worked out
business
really well.
expense for us to
Yeah,
go to
listen,
like a 12,
It's
20
a Christmas
holdovers.
movie.
Yeah,
It's something that our
Well,
hands,
here it is now. You're making
our hands are tied.
that's right.
But I love it, and I loved it. I loved rewatching this. The first time I've rewatched it since seeing it in the theaters, and it's great, and the vibes off the hook. I'm obviously not from the '70s, but I think I would have liked it. I think I would have liked it. There's a lot going on there, look wise. It looks like a time that would make me feel
But
good.
you would have not. You would have gone countercultural. You would have picked a different style.
Probably, yeah. But it looks great. The movie looks
Yeah.
great. Obviously, all the performances are just crush. It's an amazing movie. You laugh a lot, you cry, and you're filled with Christmas spirit. So great movie. I love it. It's great. Dano?
Yeah, hard to undersell, hard to oversell how much I enjoy this movie. If it wasn't for a little movie called Oppenheimer, it would have been my favorite of the year. It might be my favorite of the year. I love this movie. I think The mood that it evokes is unbelievable. I think you feel like you are in snowy 1970 in Massachusetts. I think all of these characters are so wonderfully portrayed. But I think also, there's so many fun themes in this movie. Like all of these people who are holdovers at the school are all holdovers in life. Something has waylaid them at a station that they cannot get out of. Whether it is Angus's parents and him having a new stepdad that sent him to boarding school, or whether it's Davine Joy Randolph's son dying, or whether it's Paul Giamatti's whole life since he got kicked out of Harvard. All of these people are stuck. They're holdovers in life, and it's because they can't show anyone a modicum of grace they feel like they've not received, and they can't find it in themselves to love themselves, and in turn to love others. And that makes this movie a time worth having, because when you can get authenticity like that, it beats schmaltz every time. I know we're in the business and we kind of trade in the best speech every year at Christmas time. And I tend to love to give speeches, but like at Christmas time, whichever movie has the best dad giving the speech about what Christmas is about, that tends to score points with us, and rightfully so. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but when you see the authenticity of feeling in a movie that doesn't give a big speech, that at every turn never just gives into sentimentality and still shows you that characters are changing, they're progressing, they're loving, and they're being authentic. I mean, come on. And then the Christmas of it all, chef's kiss. It's amazing. One of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I love this movie, and watching it again for the third or fourth time cemented that even further.
It's time for all the feels. We're talking about what in this movie gave us feels. Alonso, anything stick out to you?
Well, I mean, as somebody who was around for the 70s and grew up watching, movies, of that period, they nail so much just off the jump. By the way, I think this movie's set in 1971. Just to
no. When the New Year's Eve hits, it says 1971 on the ball. Like when
really?
it goes down, yeah.
Huh.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
all right.
it
goes into
so 70, 71.
Yes.
Okay, cool. But like, I mean, at the very beginning, and I don't even know if this is stuff you guys would catch because it is so before your time. But like the first thing you see is the R rating on the screen. That's how movies used to start. Movies would start with the MPAA rating up front on the big blue screen to let you know what you were about to see. The fact that neither Focus Features nor Miramax existed in 1971, but they came up with little animated logos for them that are period appropriate. That was great. The crackly sound stuff, that's kind of a grindhouse bit, but it worked. There's even a fake copyright 1971 like copyright in the opening credits if you look.
Yep.
And then just the thing of like those long shots of like the wintry campus and the one flute on the soundtrack. That's crazily early 70s. So just all of that stuff I loved. Mary's scenes. Mary has so many scenes that are the feels. The monologue about her husband and her son dying early, her breakdown at the Christmas party, the scene that she has with her sister later, the scene at the restaurant with the Cherries Jubilee. Like just she's spinning gold here, and rightfully so that she won an Academy Award. I was very excited about that. The use of the Swingle singers, I love. That's a kind of kitschy Christmas music that I really love. That's very sort of late 60s, early 70s Europop flavored. It plays over the scene where Angus is running from Hunnam through the school hallways, and one other scene. Love that. The actual visit with the father, I think, is really moving. And just ultimately the fact that as Dan was saying, like these characters who are so closed off that Angus and Hunnam, like at one point or other in the movie, kind of fall on their own swords for the other one's benefit. Yeah. It's really moving, and it's the movie bookends those two things really well. And yeah, I think this is a real movie level of emotion where they don't have to hand it to you on a plate the way that Hallmark kind of feels the need to do so, and all the more fulfilling for it.
There's so much. Paul Giamatti. I mean, come on, he's the best.
Come on.
The scene where he's in the office and he's telling the parents what's up. is great. It's just so good, and he's like just telling them that their son is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? This is not what we expected. It's great. And the scene after that, like right before he's about to say, he's about to get into his car and drive off, and he just has this moment where he just tells them, like, I believe in you and you can do it. And there's something powerful about having somebody say that, to you.
When your parents aren't.
Yes, exactly. Right. So just a really powerful moment. Like, it wasn't like as many amazing, powerful speeches as Paul Giamatti gives in this. It was just simply like, hey, you can do this. Yeah. And it's like, it wasn't this whole drawn out thing. It was very simple. Like, you can do this type thing, which is very powerful. And there's one shot that I love, which is Christmas morning. He wakes up and he can't find him and he runs out the doors. And then it's close up on him, and then it zooms out real fast. I love that shot. It's a great shot.
Payne loves the zoom there. He loves it.
I love the zoom. The zoom hits. Dano?
Yeah, all that stuff is great. And this is a movie that is rich, character rich with fun feels. I found myself laughing way harder at this moment than any other. It is slightly PG-13. I'm going to read the quote. But Paul gets fired, and the guy that is the boss, he literally used to be taught by Paul, and Paul is just like kind of reveling in being fired, and he realizes this is the only way he can move forward is to stop working here. And he pulls in this guy close. His name's Hardy, and he says this very softly. Hardy, I've known you since you were a boy, so I think I have the requisite experience and insight to aver that you are and always have been penis cancer in human form. And I just I had forgotten about it somehow, and it caught me off guard, and I loved it. Like, of all the things that are said in this movie, the way that they're said and how Paul Giamatti always has these very intellectual retorts, calling people troglodytes and all these big words, and then
saying things in Latin.
Yeah, Latin always, and then he leans in real close to this head of school and he just calls him penis cancer.
That's great.
It's fantastic.
I also love when that kid is like, I cannot fail this class, and he's like, I'm quite certain you can.
I'm quite certain you can. Yeah.
Don't underestimate yourself.
That's great. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get to that type 5 on urine and so much more here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking the Holdovers here on a Monday here on Deck the Hallmark. It's time for the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this Best Picture nominee made us stop and say, wait, what? And I'm going to start with you, Alonso. Alonso, what you got?
Okay, this took some work, but I think I found a couple of things that
they're not mine.
Early on, we are told that the heat has been turned off in all of the buildings and the faculty housing, which is why they're all staying in the infirmary.
Yep.
But the heat is also on in the church.
Yeah.
Because there is a scene where Angus winds up there and Mary comes in and they have a conversation. You can't see their breath, so I'm like, all right, someone's heating
off in God's house.
Someone's heating this building.
Yeah. I think it's being heated by at least the Holy Spirit. At the very least.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. That's best I can guess.
You're right. I take it back.
Thank you.
So early on, there's the scene where Angus is talking to two of the other holdover kids, who, by the way, the casting agent found perfect 70s prep school faces. Both the Kuntz and the long-haired ski guy look exactly like my older siblings' yearbooks. I don't know where they found these guys. Anyway, but he talks about how he's on thin ice, and if one more thing happens, if he gets kicked out of this school, he's going to get sent to military school, and that would be the worst, yada, yada, yada. So I don't quite understand the scene where he runs from Hunnam and goes into the gym, and it is such a it's one thing to grab the keys while Hunnam's passed out and sneak around and do stuff, but to do something that's that sort of flagrantly against the rules seems to me like he doesn't care at that point if he's going to get expelled. And sure, the character could be that cavalier about it, but I would think that the fear of getting sent off to military school might have checked him in that moment. I don't know, but that's
a tough one. That's a tough
neither here nor there.
Tough one.
I think maybe high schoolers don't always have the best judgment, even.
Also true.
Yeah, I think there might be a moment of a slight
Cavalier,
lapse in judgment.
yeah.
Like,
have-
I forgot.
I have one son whom I love dearly. He is my pride and joy, who occasionally definitely doesn't comprehend the consequence at the time of the action. And then when he gets the consequence, is beside himself. Like I can't believe it happened. It happened last night. We were supposed to get to watch the Sonic 3 trailer. I was like, hey, we're gonna watch the Sonic 3 trailer tonight, and he was very excited. And then for some reason he didn't get to watch it, and he couldn't believe it. So there's that. That was a fun time. It made me think of that.
And my only other thing is not really a wait what, but I will say one thing about this movie is that at this point, using Cat Stevens' The Wind is cheating.
So I told Brand I was going to say this to get you mad, but I was like, what, did they only have 10 songs in the 1970s?
Well,
We've heard of
a lot. I think a lot of the needle drops are, like I said, the Swingle singers. These are like deeper cuts. But The Wind, ever since Harold and Maude, that is just that. Is if you're doing a movie, especially a movie set in the early 70s, and you want the audience to start feeling things, you just throw that baby on and stand back. And
That's
it's like, I think it's cheating. I think it's cheating.
Well, remember the Titans did it, so you know it's in good company.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Works every time. Y'all ready for this?
No, dude, buckle
You
up.
guys ready for this? All right.
Let's have it.
Here we go.
I can't believe you're doing this.
When was the last time you peed the bed? Let's start with that. When was the last time you peed the bed?
I was probably 5 or 6 years old.
So it might have been a while ago, you know, but for those of us that have maybe done it more recently.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You would know that it's tough to avoid the urine, but he still gives this poor kid pees the bed, and he's crying, and he's like, don't get up, don't do anything. The other kids are going to beat you up. They're going to crucify you. They're going to give you a hard time.
Right.
His words. He says they're going to crucify.
I know.
And he just says, roll over.
Find a dry spot.
Right. We'll deal with it in the morning. Well, first of all, it's going to smell in the morning, so they're gonna.
And asparagus has been consumed.
I know.
That's right.
They're gonna figure it out. Whether it's now, I think you have a better chance if you deal with it now. You could be quiet, you could sneak around. But two, good luck. You know where there's not a dry spot? Your pants. Your pants. And
it's also a very small cot as well.
It is. Thank you, Alonso. You get it. Dan says it's a bad way. What? He's giving this kid bad advice. Find a dry spot.
He's trying to give him the
good luck.
The best.
Good. I get it. Good luck.
He's trying to give him the best opportunity to not get bullied any further.
Maybe it's that, or maybe he didn't
It's a tough
wanna...
situation, and obviously not a great solution. But in the mind of these two kids, this is the closest they can get to guaranteeing he doesn't get bullied. That's why they do it.
I think you should have dealt with it that night. You deal with a pee situation.
It's a terrible wait, what?
No, you deal with the pee situation that night. It's going to smell worse in the morning, and you can't find a dry spot. You can take a sheet, go get rid of it, and get back to bed without waking anybody else. You absolutely can. That's what.
Also, even if the heat is on at the infirmary, I bet it's cold in there, and it's just going to get colder if it's damp.
Alonso, what do you think? Good way, what?
It's a fair question. It is a fair question to ask.
Thank you.
That was all I needed. That was a perfect response.
Thank you, Dana.
I have two. One I stand by. The other one is maybe a stretch.
Is it
at the first
stretch?
one of the first scenes in this movie, Paul Hunnam, there's a knock on the door where he lives. It is Lydia Crane who is giving him a plate of Christmas cookies, and he seems very put off by the fact that he has Christmas cookies. We know that over 7 days later, he presents those Christmas cookies to everyone at the table. And they look the exact same as they did when she handed them. How many preservatives are in these Christmas cookies?
Uncovered.
I wouldn't touch them.
It's the 70s, Dan. Probably all the preservatives.
It is just uncanny that these Christmas cookies, it looks like they just filmed that. It looks like they came from the scene they just filmed before it. It is crazy that this, and there it's, 7 is being generous. It's probably, the cookies are probably 10 days old. So bake some Christmas cookies.
No, I don't think I think it's been like 4 or 5.
No. It literally says she hands them the cookies when they're still at school, Alonso.
Right, the last day of school,
and
yes.
then we see day 6 when the chopper picks up the kids. That's day 6, December 22nd. So by the time he gives the cookies,
get in here. Rick, get in here. Rick,
Hey,
Rick, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. It's been years
I know.
since I've been on this program.
I saw when Dan said chopper, I saw your ears perk up.
I'm in the middle.
When
of
Brand said my pants, I thought
it's vest season, and I'm in the middle of it, and you got me out of there.
But I know
Puffy vests, vest for all kinds of vests.
But
the vest season is popping. You didn't even come by. I sent you an invite.
I know you sent me an invite. We've been a little bit busy.
I
But
gave your vested option. Is what I called it.
when Dan said chopper, your ears perked up. Any particular reason?
Well, there is a chopper in this movie. It flies very close to the school, and everybody has to get on board. And it reminds me of my boy Arnie.
Arnie?
Yeah, you know Arnie.
Who's Arnie?
Arnie Schwarzenegger, the guy, the Terminator. Have you heard of the Terminator? Have you
I've
heard of the
heard of him.
Predator? Have you heard of the Terminator?
Maybe you have to jog
Have
by
you
memory.
heard of the True Lies?
Maybe you could jog
Have you
by
heard
memory.
of the Kindergarten Cop?
Maybe you could jog by memory.
You ready? Close
I'm
your
ready.
eyes. Close
Okay.
your eyes and close
Alonso,
your ears.
close your eyes.
Ready? It's gonna sound. You're not gonna even believe
we
it. You're gonna blow your socks off. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Get back to vest right after this. Get to the chopper.
Wow.
Wow.
It's identical.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I got chills.
Yeah, we all did.
I didn't know we had him. I didn't know we had Arnie.
We all got.
I didn't know we
chills,
had Arnie.
apparently. Yeah,
That was Rick?
I know that's crazy, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Rick. Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Happy vest season.
Happy vest season. So we know that it's been at least 7 days. That is the minimum time it's been since cookies have been presented to Paul Hunnam from time he presents them at the table. That's the minimum amount it could be. Those cookies look the exact same. Come on, everybody. Did you put them in the freezer? What'd you do?
Well, if they were sitting in his unheated room, I guess they've been kept cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I got a
and then
double digit rule for cookies. I would still do
You have a
shot.
double digit. Of course you do.
I would give
But
it a
you
shot.
threw up after 27, so you.
I have a double.
eaten
I'm
some
sorry.
bad cookies.
I should have clarified. I have a double digit day. A double digit day rule.
Yeah. But
Right.
don't ask him to eat 55 because he can't.
I can't do it.
Can't do that.
We found out.
Yeah.
We found out.
Yep.
Half that maybe.
Just because you say you will doesn't mean you can.
That's right.
And that was
You cookied around and you found out.
That's right. Cooking around, you found out.
100%.
And then the other one, and this is definitely a stretch, but Angus says, I've never had a home cooked meal for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. Traditionally, my mom orders basically takeout from Delmonico's with all the fixings. Delmonico's sounds like an Italian restaurant to me that's open on the day of the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus
No,
Christ.
Delmonico's is a very fancy New York steak place from back in the day.
Okay, and it would have been open on Christmas Day, you think?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
sure.
great. That's all I needed.
So stupid.
So dumb.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so
Just got that right.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
So I bet you wrote down that. I wish
Yeah.
that you wish you did brought it. It's time for what the hallmark is where we wonder what could have been. Maybe having us clarity any questions that we still have. Alonso, what are you still wondering about?
It is a testament to how much I love this movie that I would be game to see a sequel where we find out how they're doing in the 80s or the 90s, and I think with the same attention to period detail, but to a later decade. And I think these characters are rich enough that I want to know. I know it's kind of a non-answer, but like the movie doesn't leave me. I think it perfectly like closes its own loop, but at the same time, it's so well put together, and I love these three characters so much that I would not be averse to like touching base with them later and just sort of seeing how things are going.
I love the idea of a very old, cranky Paul Giamatti who they come and visit. I think that would be fun. I think that's a fun bit. I would be down for that for sure.
Maybe Angus is the new. Eventually comes back, and he's the teacher. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here. Maybe
Sure.
he's the teacher.
Yeah.
And then he asks.
He hires him.
or maybe just like, hey, I got to stick around at Christmas. Remember when we did that? How about you come and you help me? And I don't know, but tomfoolery.
Yeah. I have one of mine is just they say that Angus says he was wrongly accused of blowing up a toilet, and I'd love to hear that story. I think we missed an opportunity for that story. I think the other one I have is
He was wrongly accused.
There is definitely a shift in character for Paul Giamatti during the holdover season of this movie, but when he gets back to class, he has a more positive demeanor, but still seems to be the same. Like, we're still going to take this exam again. You're still going to have a pop quiz. He's still the same guy. And I appreciate the fact that he didn't show up and have them all sit in a reader's circle and tell their feelings. Like, I appreciate that, but I want to know.
He's not like starting a kindness club.
Yes, exactly. But also, he gets fired. So we'll never know the answer to this, but I would love to know how it would have changed on a day-to-day basis, if you have forgiven yourself and you realize that people need, some sentiment or some like just little modicum of grace in their life, how that would change how you teach on a day-to-day basis, like how that changes how you teach. And because it's important. I think every teacher either learns how to become more rigid because it's necessary or how to become more gracious because it's necessary. And I would actually be interested in how that would occur. Unfortunately, that's not the direction that the movie ends up taking, and that's fine. I think the movie's direction is better, but if he would have stayed, that's what I would have wanted.
Or you get out.
Yeah. Or you get out.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not talking about
Anyone
I'm not
here.
talking about anyone here, but maybe you get out.
But you get out.
You get out.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. We did, everybody. Congratulations. We're back next Monday with another Christmas movie. From years past, we're going to 2012 for Rise of the Guardians.
Ooh, I've never seen it.
Rise of the Guardians. That's a little Jack Frost action, right?
I think there's like an Easter bunny and a
I
Santa.
feel like I
There's
hear
Guardians.
once a year from a random person that they freaking love this movie, and that's all I ever hear about it. And I've never
I
seen
think
it.
the problem with this movie, and why I often forget about it, is because I don't feel like it's a good title.
Yeah,
It
it's a weird
sounds
title.
like something serious, like they're about to go
Well,
to war, you know?
or the Owls of Gahuli are somehow
Yeah,
involved.
I mistake it for the Zack Snyder thing. That whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to review it nonetheless. Title be darned.
Title be damned. That is not a cuss word, Bran.
All right. How about you go down to Schutt's Creek
Okay.
and you have yourself a party with being a
Okay.
darn?
Yeah, that's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Penis cancer.
He was damned into a grammatical error there.
We're going to be back tomorrow with another episode of Deck the Hallmark. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas!
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.